Good afternoon. Back with some more winter florals. Today I'm going to take inspiration from an old painting I did with some white flowers, pine cones, and some eucalyptus. So I'm going to start with the white flowers using some vanilla. It's KMS vanilla. And very loose, big petals. And I want the black centers to bleed a little bit, so I'm going to add some black to the center. Okay. I'll go back in with a more crisp black saturated center after that dries. I'm going to do a few more of those white flowers in some different orientations. So one that's going to face down. Again, going back in for a little touch of black so the centers blend. Back to vanilla and adding another full bloom here. A little bit of black. Okay, one more white floral. This one is going to be pointing upwards. So my short petal is going to be close to me. My little side petals there. Okay. I want to add my pine cones now. So I'm going to switch to my round 4. And I'm going to use pecan pie from KMS. Going to have one pine cone here in between. So that's a little tap of the brush and a little tap right next to it on either side. Some lines, thicker, thinner, as I get lower, longer, a little bit more curved. So that's my pine cone. Thanks, hopeful optimist. Definitely want the brown to bleed in a little bit there where I can. That's why I chose white flowers, so that you could really see the blends. Okay. I've never built up a pine cone upside down, so basically doing the reverse of what I did up there. It's probably just not going to be as well balanced. Okay. And I want my little top kind of the same. Okay. There. Pinecone Lake. You can guess what it is. And then I'm gonna have one more nestled here between the petals. Okay. That sort of looks like a pine cone. I'll call that one good as well. Okay. Next step is greenery. So I want this eucalyptus to have similar brown for a stem. It's a little bit lighter. This is cookie dough. That's going to be where my next one goes. This side is still a little wet, so I'm going to make sure to get some nice bleeds there. And then again to a spot that is still wet. I think I'm going to add some pine needles in places as well. So some of these are going to be eucalyptus branches, some of them pine needles. Okay. So that's sort of my placement right now. I mixed up this forest green and spruce color combo for my eucalyptus. And with my Neptune, mostly just use the brush and plop it down to create my eucalyptus leaves. This one. Thinking this will be pine. Put some pine over there, maybe next to the pine cones. That makes sense. Okay. Great. Next up, greenery part 2. I'm gonna get my winter pine color. So I decided it's gonna be just one little branch of pine. Thank you, Tish. I've been on a winter floral kick this week because I've got that challenge that starts on Friday. So I've already painted quite a bit for that advent calendar challenge that I'm co-hosting. This Friday I'll be going live on Instagram with Iduma, and we're going to be working on gingerbread houses. So if you were around when we did our Halloween paint-alongs, we were working on a beautiful haunted house, and she is updating it so that we can make it into a gingerbread house now. All right. Now I want to add some greenery in here so it does look like they're connected in some way. So add a leaf. It's pretty good. I think I'm happy with this one. I wanted to go back and add a little bit extra center darkness in some places. And I have a metallic brown called pinecone, so I should use that in the pinecone. I feel like that's necessary at this point. Okay. So I like the flowers, very subtle. I love the bleeds with the pine cones and the greenery. Okay, let's just take a closer head-on look at this. So I want to add that sparkly pine cone in the pine cone, but also maybe in the flowers as well, because they're a tiny bit flat. So I'm going to use my petals brush just because I have that beautiful point to it. I can get very precise with my application here. So I'm going to wake up the pine cone here. And add it as a highlight to some of the places in the pine cone. You're only really going to notice this with the light hitting it, just so. And here I can see that my petal was still wet, so I added in a little bit there. And this petal is also still wet, so I can do the same thing there. Okay, and then I'll give maybe just some little lines and details to some of the other flowers. Oh, look at that. I love that. And now you can see the pine cone color glistening. Okay. I can't believe the first year I was painting, I didn't have any metallic colors. And now I absolutely adore using metallics as little extra touches. very fun. Okay, maybe a little here. Just trying to tell what's still wet. I'm so glad to hear that, and I hope you've enjoyed all those metallics. Okay. Okay. Adding a bit into the centers of these white flowers. I want to go in and kind of pull that out a bit. I want it more subtle. I know this petal is still a little wet there. And then maybe this is the outer edge. Oh my gosh, it's a lot of practice, so I didn't know that it would actually come out looking like that. Hopeful optimist, you know, it's just, you play around. This is nice paper though. I am using 100% cotton paper, so I knew it wouldn't be completely terrible. Okay. Now, before that completely dries, just dragging it out. Maybe liked them before I added the metallic. I think when it dries, it'll be a nice subtle shimmer, right? Just a little something extra. Oh, Erin, hello. Pine cones are one of the elements of our Advent Calendar Challenge. I think it's later in December, on the back half of December. But I've painted pine cones a couple times live. They're not too bad if you go for a loose style, right? It's kind of a couple plops of your brush, and then I do a nice thin line on some angles. If you want to layer dark and light next to each other, it helps give it a little bit of dimension. So this, out of the three of them, I think this is my favorite pine cone here. So that's why I'm highlighting that one. I think Emma LaFave has a good tutorial. There are a couple. I just took what I liked from a bunch of people, and hi Zena. There we go. She's bringing me a present. She wants playtime now. She says, paint time is over. There she goes running around. So I guess it is playtime for her, because this last flower is, oh my gosh, there she goes running into the table. Okay. All right. She's telling me, forget this last flower. Okay. I guess that's the end of that one. But thank you for joining me. It's time for me to go play with Zena to make her happy. So there we go. A couple of winter florals. That one will have to be done off screen. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you again soon.